Welcome to Buckets, Game 7 edition, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I'm joined by senior NBA futures analyst Brandon Anderson on Twitter and the Action Network app at WheatonBrando, WheatonBrando. For this, your Game 7 best bets of the NBA Finals, the last game of the season, no matter what. We will crown a champion, and we'll talk about all of it today. If you're watching live on youtube.com/the Action Network, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. If you're watching or listening to us on our podcast version, make sure to give us a 5-star review. Spread the word. Get somebody else into Buckets, because we have really grown the community, and we're really happy to have all of you along with us. It's been an absolutely marvelous season. It's been a great ride, and we appreciate everybody's support. It's been really, I've really enjoyed watching this community grow over the course of the playoffs as we started doing live. Going to try and incorporate that more next season, but we have to finish this season as the Indiana Pacers force a Game 7 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll talk about everything today. Make sure you download the Action Network app and sign up for the pro subscription. You can get what I'm going to talk about as far as our pro signals. You can follow Brandon in there. It's going to be NFL futures time. You're going to want to get in on him for all of his prop stuff. You're going to want to get in for all of his futures, all of his long shots. If you are like, why would I want that? Go check out his ROI and ask yourself if you want to miss out, because Brandon is an absolute monster and an absolute, he is the architect of ROI. I just coined that. We're going to get t-shirts made or something. The Oklahoma City Thunder fall in Game 6. So this opens 9 and it immediately starts getting hit. And I talked about it last night. The Pacers were taking money. We're down to 7.5 today. I thought maybe it would come back in on OKC this morning. Nope. If they're coming in on OKC, they want to see how far down this is going to go. 55% of the tickets, 64% of the money are on the Pacers. That's one thing, but that usually doesn't. That's not enough to move the market. You got to have significant money that the books respect come in, and it has for this to move to 7.5. This is a 1.5 move. Remember that we were at 11 at one point in the series for a home game for OKC, and we see this in the comments. Kay Garrison says, I don't understand how the Thunder money line can get down to where it's at right now after having seen it at the -400 range in games prior. OKC dominates a large portion of the minutes played in OKC against Indiana. I would remind you that the Celtics won the majority of the minutes against the New York Knicks, and that didn't help them at all. I think it's important for you to keep in mind, it doesn't matter how many minutes you win, you got to win the damn game. But I get what you're saying, and I just want to kind of talk about it from this perspective. If they're taking this much money on Indiana, that's what, this isn't the book. The books told you, hey, we opened it at 9 in Game 1. We're at 9 in Game 7. We are right back where we started. That's where we're at. It was 9 or 9.5, maybe a half point, right? Because the Pacers have proven that they're closer, and the market, the bettors, the people have said, we believe in this Pacers team. Pacers taking 73% of the tickets and 86% of the money on the money line, plus 260, because those are going to be related. I will just say, and Brandon, we're going to do this quick because because you are a man of the people, have a lot of ways for people to bet a Game 7. But my only request today is that we be open, because I think this is going to be a very divisive game amongst smart, educated people. I think it is perfectly fine and reasonable if you look at this and go, OKC is the better team. They've been the better team all season. This nonsense stops here. They're at home. They dominate games at home. Home teams win Game 7 overall. All of these points I think are fair, and it's okay to bet the Thunder. It is okay to look at the Pacers and say, they have outperformed in this situation every single round. The market has been wrong on them consistently for 4 rounds. And in this specific spot, I am in favor of the Pacers to win this series. I think that is a perfectly legitimate cap, given that this isn't a close number. You're not betting the Pacers at plus 110. You're not betting the Pacers at plus 150. You're betting the Pacers at over 2.5 to 1. I think it is perfectly reasonable for you to bet either side of this position. I do not think that there is a wrong play when it comes to this Game 7. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think at this point, 6 games into this particular finals in this particular playoffs, the one thing you should be most confident about as a bettor is that you should not be very confident as a bettor right now. That's the thing you should be confident about. If you look at this and go either one of those positions that Matt said, but too far. Oh, Thunder landslide, Thunder all I'm 10 units, I'm betting everything and taking the escalator all the way and I'm unloading. No, you're too confident. You are too confident. That is not what we have seen in the series. If you are, the Pacers just have the magic. They have the narrative. They have the touch. They're going to find a way. I'm digging my heels in. Pacers money line, Pacers alts. I'm betting them again live. No, you're too far that direction. You can't be that confident about any of these things. You shouldn't be that confident. In weird ways, Matt, we've talked about this a few times. Other than the end of the end of the fourth quarter in game one, through the entire series off. Other than that like weird half quarter, the series is played out almost exactly like I and most analysts said going into the series. OKC at home by a lot, struggling a little bit on the road. Don't know if they take a road game 6. Here we are in a home game 7. It should sort of play out the way we thought, but these games keep not playing out how we thought. We saw the Pacers win a game 1 they never should have had a chance to get. We saw the Thunder win a game 4 they never should have had a chance to get, where they had, like 10 or 11 assists as an entire team. We've now seen the Thunder, the team that crushes and blows opponents out, get blown off the court last night in a possible clincher. Nothing makes sense. Everything makes sense, but nothing makes sense all at once. And if you are betting without that in mind, then I think you are betting way too overconfidently. So we're going to try our best. But even in my bets today, Matt, I'm going to make strong bets. I'm going to make outlier bets, but I'm going to make a whole bunch of them. I'm going to make outlier bets in a bunch of directions because that's my MO now. I don't know what I think, but I think it's going to be weird. So let me bet a bunch of weird outcomes, and hopefully we get a couple of them right.
I like that. That's smart. I think I want to talk about this because Raybon brought it up on our pregame show. You can catch our pregame show Sunday at 6:30 Eastern. We'll be on live after the game. There's been a request for an Octobox, which I'm currently trying to figure out using our software, but we are at least going to have a whole lot of people cycling in and out on the show to give their reactions to the series, Game 7, and the season at large. So one of the things that I wanted to look at in Bet Labs is I actually wanted to know this, like, what's the indicator specifically of Game 7? How is the market done directionally? So I looked at spread between 55% and 74% for a Game 7 in any round where the line is moved by at least a point against that team. So in this case, like the line's moved against the Pacers in this instance, not against them directionally. The way that let me rephrase that. The Pacers number has gone down, right? They were 9. They're now 7.5. So it's moving toward them in their direction. Okay. That's the easier way to say it. Our Bet Lab system.
So you want to know the team taking the money and the bets. How do they end up doing in a Game 7?
And that the line has accordingly moved with it, because you can take money and bets and the line won't move because the sharps are going the other way. Our sample size is never going to be big on these, right? We don't have that many Game 7s. But I do think it's interesting that those games against the spread are 5, 7, and 1 against the spread. So directionally, the market has not been correct on the spread play in these types of games, which probably dovetails into the Matt Mitchell rule that you think one team is going to cover and you should probably just play the money line because they would win outright, and instead the other team, like in the Dogs does this, then the other team wins and then they cover. And I'm going to look this up real quick because I do want to see favorites versus dogs. Favorites are 3-3-1. The dog in this case, which is Indiana, 2-4 in these Game 7s when they're getting the money. So that does tell you that Raybon is correct in this instance of the market not being correct directionally. And it's been off. It's gotten sharper as the series went along. Like early in the season or in the series, it was kind of indicative of like what all the analysts were saying, including us, which is like, oh, OKC in 5, they're going to wipe them out. Like, it's cute that the Pacers made it here, but they're going to get killed. And then that did not happen. And so we'll see kind of how
Yeah.
this goes. We're going to talk about best bets. We're going to get into our plays. Brandon and I are oppo in a very, I think, half-hearted way, like a not really more of a kind of way. But first, I need to tell you about Underdog. Go yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Pick'em game. Underdog's one of the leading sports apps, and you can play right now in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? To play, all you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like home runs, strikeouts, and total bases, and so much more. Once your picks feel good, you can play with as little as $1. And if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Underdog lets you mix and match across sports as well. So you can listen to Payoff Pitch. I would say playoff. It's Payoff Pitch, our podcast on baseball, and get plays from there. You can get plays from us, and you can play them together on Underdog just by going higher or lower. Joe Gallant is going higher on TJ McConnell 3-pointers once again in game 7. So if you want to put something together, you can kind of start there. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code Buckets100 to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code Buckets100. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-MY or text HOPE-MY. For the last time this season, we will do best bets. Game 7, Pacers, Thunder. Brandon Anderson, I'm going to take a big drink of water while you give me all of your best bets.
I'm not going to list off all of the bets. I'm going to give you my best bets, and then I have a propalooza for you all today. I wanted to find you angles. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 props to give you later. I'll decide as we're talking through them. We'll kind of rapid fire through which one's our best bets. I'm going to give you one best bet right now. 1, Oklahoma City minus the 7.5. Thunder on the spread. Give me OKC, the home favorite in game 7 to finish the job. And I am going to bet some Oklahoma City escalators as promised, but I'm going to be sprinkling these. This is not going to be like a digging my heels in, drop the hammer, here we go. Give me the Thunder to win by 8 or more and win the championship. And we'll talk about how to bet some escalators for it.
Okay. Pacers money line plus 260. Tyrese Halliburton under on assists. I will keep betting this until I'm in the dirt.
A hilarious combination, by the way, just to lead with both of those together is what else for this finals? The perfect way to sum up these finals.
So yesterday, the original parlay that I had put in for our pregame best bet was taking Halliburton all the way down on on threes, points, assists, steals and blocks, and Pacers money line. It wouldn't have hit because Halliburton just snuck over. But the fact that I was within range on that ridiculous one, and by the way, I got walked off of it because I told Gilles Gallant in our pre-show meeting, I was like, if Chris Raybon comes in and says he hates this, I'm killing it. And Chris Raybon comes in and is like, oh, I hate that parlay. And I was like, all right, we're killing that. And it's good because it would have lost. Chris was right. But man, it was a very predictable outcome in that it was not a predictable outcome. Okay. Let's start. Let's just do the side. Give me the case. I wasn't surprised that you hit that you called out OKC alts last night. I am interested to know how you feel with a little bit more time on it.
Yeah.
And why you're supporting this play.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of start big picture on both sides and kind of narrow in because it's game 7, so let's give the people what they want. So Pacers, the Pacers have 8 guys scoring double digits in the finals right now. What the heck? The Pacers have 8 players. The entire rotation is scoring double digits in the finals. Unheard of in a star-driven league. The Pacers from Evan Abrams have 3 finals wins as underdogs. That is now tied for the most since the merger. They would have to break the record to get the championship here. They would have to break the record for most underdog wins in a playoff run. They have 10 wins outright as underdogs in the postseason from Evan, tied the 2023 Heat, who are not really competitive in their finals. Again, they would break the record here. They were 66-1 preseason odds to be the NBA champions. The longest odds in our records are the Warriors, 2015, 28-1. So they're more than double the odds to get there. That is the story that we are up against looking at the Pacers in Game 7, which, Matt, I'll be honest, both of us are basketball historians. Both of us have watched the game our whole lives. Both of us have done the work on all the stuff before our lives. This is an unbelievable story, and it has worn me down and is kind of trying to win me over. It's just like, I got the Thunder hoodie on today. I'm backing the Thunder. I'm betting the Thunder. All my props are betting the Thunder. Man, this would be unlike anything we've seen in this sport, and maybe change the way we think about the sport and the way, you talk about, you're so confident on it's just these teams. It's just this team is great. This team is out. Like, we have to think about things differently forever if the Pacers finish the job here. So I'm interested by that, and I have to start there. I also have to start by looking at, okay, what's the precedent here for the Thunder? And I think that there is a crazy mirror to the Denver series with this series. So here's what the mirror looks like. Game 1, Denver series. Game 1, Pacers series for the Thunder. Thunder lead all game at home. Everybody bet them. I bet them. You bet them. Everybody bet Thunder alts. They're rolling. They lose on a buzzer beater. Both game 1s. Game 2, Oklahoma City blowout home win. Right the ship back on target. Game 3, Oklahoma City leads into the fourth quarter and loses by 9. Exactly by 9 in both game 3s. Game 4, down 2-1 on the road. Thunder trail most of the game. They come back late. They get the game. They tied up 2-2. Game 5, not a big blowout. Gritty. Home close win. Tied 2-2. Big fourth quarter push. Both series. Game 6. We're done. We won the series. Nope. You didn't win the series. You came out with no energy on the road. They lost last night to big role player games. To Denver, it was the Brown game. It was the Julian Strother game, as you recall. Okay, what's the setup? Well, you remember how I bet Game 7 against Denver, Matt? I came out firing with the escalators. And what happened in that game was Denver scored 93 points. Oklahoma City won by 32. Denver had 23 turnovers on the road and 45% effective field goal percentage. Oklahoma City won by being the thing they are best, a defensive juggernaut at home. So that is what leads me to say, okay, what's the thing that I still know best in the series and in the season? It is that the Thunder are a defensive juggernaut at home, that they cause turnovers at home, and that they swing the possession game, a possession game that has dramatically swung the other way in a couple of the Indiana wins, including in Game 6 just last night, where the Pacers had, I think, like 16 or 18 more shots than the Thunder. I am betting on that swinging dramatically back the other direction. I'm betting on Caruso and Kayson and Dort and all the guys forcing turnovers. I'm betting on the role players hitting threes and Indiana's role players regressing. I'm betting on home court. All the things, all the tropes, all the OKC is the angle that I'm betting on. And it's why I think Oklahoma City gets the job done here at -7.5. So I said a lot. I know you're on Pacers. Before I get into some of the alts and how I'm betting them, thoughts on any of that, and why are you on Pacers?
I think you have to be aware when it's a environment where precedent doesn't matter. And like, you've influenced me a lot with like, this happens, this doesn't happen. Historically, this happens, this doesn't happen. And you won a lot of money doing that, and will continue to win a lot of money doing that. But I also think that, like any system, you don't have to bet it in every single instance. And
Right.
you can recognize that this is a year in which we've seen the Game 7 trend, teams coming off Game 7s, get blown to bits. It's a trend where we've seen the home team in the finals trend get blown to bits. It's a season where we've seen a 1 seed, a 2 seed, and another 2 seed all be eliminated in the second round or earlier in the first round for the Rockets. I understand the Nuggets series comparison, and it makes a lot of sense, not just on a surface level. I think it's entirely reasonable, especially if you have OKC priors, which look, I did too. I think it totally makes sense. Like Rylan Stiles of Locked On Thunder, who I listen to, like he's very much of the, like Thunder fans are very much of the opinion this is just like the Denver series. There's no difference. It's just the exact same thing. And my difficulty with that is that I'm just maybe too close to the trees, where I don't see a lot of similarities with the teams. Where I agree, the schedule, upset game 1, bounce back game 2, dog takes game 3 because we always like the dog in game 3. Favorite comes back in game 4 and 5. Like I've been on this, right? And said part of this is that I did say when they won game 3, I said I like the Pacers to win from behind. And I said I like Thunder in 6 or Pacers in 7. And I'm not just being held to that. If the situation had changed, I would feel differently. Styles agrees with you that last night was more about the Thunder didn't play with urgency. They didn't play with desperation. And I don't necessarily see that. There were tactical adjustments that Indiana made that matter to me, by going lower on screens, by changing the way they guarded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, by walling off and really committing to my favorite defensive strategy, which is, if you want to make tough shots, my guy, you go ahead. We're not giving you anything easy. No assists. You cut off assists, and you realize the points per possession differential? If you just stay the fuck home on your guy, like, the impossible efficiency load for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander otherwise is too high. And that makes even if he plays way better in game 7, which I'm sure he will, that makes it much closer. And so I felt like if there's one team that is best built to go on the road and break the game 7, it's not even really a trend because we haven't seen it necessarily hold up as much. But this idea of home teams win game 7s, it's the Pacers. And I need to not get caught up in either this game. And again, the Thunder have not lost twice in a row in a game in which they had everybody available since November. And by the way, they didn't have their centers in that game when they were actually after the 1 seed was locked up in April was the only other time. Hasn't happened. So I can't sit here and say betting OKC is insane. But to me, the value has to be on Indiana, because I don't walk into this game with this isn't even about the number to me. That's why I'm just on Pacers money line, where I'm I don't even, it's just no, the Pacers can win this game. They can win this game. And
yeah, they can.
I think that 260, that's a good enough number for me to bet them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Pacers can win the game. I have right now the same bet that you have, not as good of a price as yours. You bet Pacers to win the series from behind 20-1. I came in a game later. I bet the exact outcome. So I already lost one of my exacts, but I have a half unit at plus 1,600 to get this exact outcome if the Pacers win here. So I think that they're live. Absolutely. It would be insane, given what we've seen, again, to be something akin to 100% confident that well, it's fine. The Thunder are just way better. We know what we know. The Thunder will right the ship and figure things out. It is an insane opinion to take that, given what we have watched over the last couple of weeks. Doesn't matter. Halliburton hurts his calf again in the first minute. It's out. Okay, now I'm dropping the hammer. No, don't do it. Too much weird stuff is happening in these playoffs with these Pacers in these finals. You should not be that confident. Absolutely, I think the Pacers can win. I basically agree with the analysis you just gave. I thought the Thunder were a lot more than just energy last night. Kaylin Cooper covers Pacers. Awesome. Hopefully you've heard of her by now, these finals and before. talked about how the Pacers dramatically changed from full court pressure, basically like they'd been doing the entire playoffs, to dropping back, but then bringing half court pressure right as soon as you get across the line. Use the line as a boundary and get them pressured. They had more, Shea saw more double teams last night than he had at any point so far in the playoffs. They turned the faucet off. And for the second time in the last few games, the Thunder, none of the numbers were good. They're not getting as many threes up. They're not getting any assists at all. They are turning it over a lot. They're forcing things. We're not forcing turnovers. There's a lot of things that should be very worrisome to me, a Thunder backer here. For the series, for the game, it's all the same at this point. Here's where I'm at, though. I'm not denying any of that. I just also have seen those things happen in either team's direction now, a bunch of games in these finals, and then the very next game, none of it matters anymore because all the stuff Carlisle did to absolutely pants Dagnall last night was all terrific, but now they have 2 days to learn and adjust and do some other things and find some answers, and the Thunder are really good and going to find some answers. And like, I don't want to throw out what we just saw, but I also don't want to over-index on it because we're going to adjust to the adjustments, and then they'll adjust to our adjusting to their adjustments. And like, we still haven't seen the Carlisle zone yet that we for sure we're going to see sometime. Maybe save that for game 7. Maybe the half-court pressure thing was the version of that. We don't know. To me, the thing, and I don't know this, but the thing I'm most confident of knowing is the possession battle, is the turnovers. And that's the thing that has swung the most home and away. And that's the thing that has swung the most in wins and losses, where the Pacers, like, effectively, if the Pacers don't get 15, 20 extra shots compared to the Thunder, and instead the Thunder get 10 or 15 more shots because they forced the turnovers, they won the offensive rebounds. I know, I'm back to my 4 factors crap, but that's how the series has played out. If those things are true, and there is a 20, 25 shot swing in the game, then I don't need to know who's defending who, how, and who dropped and who doubled. And I don't need to know that anymore because I don't even pretend to know that. I don't have that analysis. I don't know what's happening in game 7. But if all that half-court stuff doesn't matter as much because the Thunder suddenly got 15 more steals and 20 more transition points and fast breaks and all the stuff that's easier to get, then I can just lose the half-court stuff and still be fine. And I feel most confident predicting Thunder turnovers at home and righting the ship on the possessions thing, because that's been their identity too all season. That's the thing I'm backing. I'm not even disagreeing with all the rest of the stuff, really.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Team in the series, the team with more turnovers is 1-4. Like, makes sense, right? Turn the ball over more. I think, like, I'm always going to index on that half court stuff. I do think the turnovers to me are a little bit difficult to predict, given the way that they've defended in the series, right? Cade says, it's unlikely the Thunder have 7 turnovers through 15 minutes of play and shoot 1 of 15 from 3. Keep in mind that entire time they were down 8 or 9. Can't have inbound passes get stolen again. Well, we're backwards there. Yeah, you have said that after game 3 too, and yet there's TJ McConnell ruining your life. Yeah, I agree. Like, it's unlikely that they do, but I also just don't think that it's like to me, the Pacers formula is not, I do the if thing a lot with the playoffs. This is a strategy I found that has always kind of helped, and I've gotten a little bit too far away from it, honestly, this year. It's how many ifs do you need to win the game? And I don't look at this as like, if the Pacers win the turnover battle, and if they win the half court, and if they do this, and if they shoot better from 3, and if this. I'm like, no. Like, they've proven they can lose the turnover battle and win. They have done that. It's unlikely, but it's not a death knell for them. Especially because we've talked about the points off of turnovers thing. And I just wind up feeling this is an interesting stat, Brandon, that Seth Partnow pointed out to me this morning. Do you know what the potential assist count in the series is?
It's I'm sure flabbergasting of a huge drop between the two teams because OKC's have just completely disappeared at like 2.5 games.
It's 285 to 205.
Yeah.
It's an 80 potential assist differential.
Yeah, and we don't have to tell you which team's the 285 there either. That's how obvious it is.
And for me, that is an indicator of better process. Passing numbers overall not as telling for me. You can pass a lot and not generate good offense. But if you're generating potential assists, which is a pass leads to a shot attempt, those are always going to be higher per possession marks than non-assisted figures. Now, a good counter to that is like, Matt, this is a game 7. It's going to be an under. It's going to be grimy. It's going to be ugly. And in that kind of situation, don't you want the tough shot makers in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams? And I'd be like, yep, that's totally fair and reasonable. That cannot argue with you one bit. On the other hand, if this is a shot making contest, do you want the Thunder or do you want the Pacers? And that gets a lot more difficult when we look at the EFG differential. If we talk 4 factors, that effective field goal percentage thing comes in here. Like, I don't have the numbers because I can't pull that. I would love to know though, Brandon, like coming in, who's got the better, like how often does the team with a better EFG percentage in the playoffs win the game 7? That'd be like a really interesting telling stat. I'll have to figure out a way to do that. But that's kind of where I'm at. Talk to me about the alts and how you want to play this and why.
So, yeah, part of the reason that I've cooled a little bit on the alt situation is just the fact that we're already at 7.5. I don't mind just taking the cover. You know, we talk about the Matt Mitchell rule. The team that wins usually covers in the playoffs. It's a pretty overwhelming stat in our favor. If the game was close at the end, I typically, in a game where the season's on the line, you're going to foul. You're going to do everything you possibly can to get over the line. And so I think Oklahoma City can cover that way. I don't mind that. Here's the reason to like the alts, and then I'll give you the reason to not like them. This is why I'm playing them only cautiously here. Oklahoma City at home in the playoffs, 10-2. The 2 losses were games that they dominated much of the game and then lost those 2 game ones on the buzzer beater. Average margin of victory in those 10 games, 25 points a game. Half of them by 26 points a game, all but one by double digits. They won once by 7. So in the entire playoffs, when they win at home, they have covered the 7.5 every single time except getting hooked on one game. So that's why I'm taking the cover. They've won at all but 2 of those wins by 15 or more points. So far in the playoffs, the Thunder at home are plus 247 net. That's averaging more than 21 points a game. It's the best by any team in playoff history going into game 7. They're minus 67 on the road. The champions to be potentially are averaging minus 7 points a game on the road for the playoffs. That's a huge, huge discrepancy. We've talked so much all year long and in recent years how the home road thing is going away. Home advantage is going away. It has not gone away for the Thunder. It has been huge, which makes sense because it is the second youngest finals team ever, I believe, or maybe the youngest team. So young players at home, that checks out. And it makes sense because so much of OKC is defense and turnovers and energy. And that checks out with home as well. At home in the playoffs, the Thunder, or not even at home, just in the season, the Thunder have 31 wins in the regular season by 18 or more points. They have 6 wins by that number in the playoffs. That's over a third of their wins. They have 10 wins by 30 or more points, including in the playoffs, 30, 32, 43, and 51. So based on just how the Thunder play and the way that the Avalanches come for the Thunder, here are the alts. Just keeping them easy. 20-point win, 5-1. 30-point win, 14-1. I'm going to sprinkle. I'm not going to go crazy here because the finals have been weird. But that's the numbers. 20-1 or 20 points, 5-1, 30 points, 14-1. Here's why to not necessarily go crazy. We've only had, this will be the 5th game 7 in the last 3 decades in the NBA Finals. Here are the scores of the others. 2016, Cavs Warriors, 93-89. Both below 100, 4-point game. 2013, Heat Spurs, 95-88. both below 100, 7-point game. 2010 Lakers Celtics 83-79, catching the trend. 2005 Spurs Pistons 81-74. We don't remember that game. So we've not seen a finals team score 100 points in a game 7 since 1988 right now. And I know it's a different league now. There's more threes, pace is up. All the history stuff doesn't necessarily matter, but we know how game 7 unders tend to go. So Matt, I'm going to ask you, here's my second alt play. And I think this might be the better alt play. If you're betting Thunder, not necessarily to go, okay, win by 20 or 30. There's really very little precedent of that happening in a game 7, especially in the finals. How about Pacers team total under mineshaft? 100 or below, plus 160. Oklahoma City has held each opponent so far in the playoffs to 100 or below twice each time until the finals. They haven't done it yet. They have 5 times below 95. Under 95 is plus 313. They've had at least each series a team under 90. Under 90 Pacers is plus 650. The Pacers are averaging 102.7 points per game in their losses. They have 100, 101. They had a 94 in previous series. Because it's game 7, Matt, because we know that the scoring is going to be hard to come by. That's always how these things tend to go. Even in this series, I think we have to assume that we're going to head that direction. Is the smarter escalator to not go for a huge margin of victory, but to just say, OKC defense, turn off the faucet and stop Indiana from scoring, lean in, and just bet on the Pacers not scoring. If you were betting the Thunder, like I am, do you like the margin of victory escalator better, or do you like the Pacers mineshaft better?
Mineshaft, Pacers, Thunder in home wins. They have 10 home wins in these playoffs. The opponent team total under is 9-1. Average points scored 97 in those home wins. So the under 100 there, I think, makes a lot of sense. If we're talking about an under game, it's inherently, I think, probably not a good idea to bet like a 20-point win forecast the Indiana Pacers to do what?
Right.
Like,
yeah, you got to be, if we're hitting our 20 or 30, unless you think the Thunder score like 125 and just go crazy and are celebrating the whole second half, which is in play, it could happen. We basically saw that in the Denver game. But unless you think that, the Pacers suddenly have to score like 80 or 75 for the Thunder to get the huge margin. And they could. History of game 7 suggests that that's in play, but I don't think that's a bet you want to be making, even if Halliburton is not 100%, even if all the game 7 stuff happens. So I agree with you. I will, once these go into the app, and this will all make the app, once these go in, I will be more aggressive, still not too aggressive, but more on the Pacers mineshaft. I think that's the smarter way to play some alts, but not go too crazy with it. And because the Pacers could win the game, and you could still hit that mineshaft because they won the gritty, ugly game too.
So I've talked all about how precedent doesn't matter, but I'm here. I do this, so I'm going to give the numbers.
Okay.
For the Matt Mitchell rule and game 7s in particular, dogs that cover or favorites that win. Okay. So you're double counting these. It is 72-10 straight up, including the dogs, 87.8%, including the favorites, and ATS is 87.8%. So it backs up the Matt Mitchell rule. By the way, the under
cover.
The under 50 and 32. We got a 61% hit rate on the under in these games. The other thing here, we talked about this last night. This is Brian Fonseca's best bet for game 7 is Thunder money line first half, Pacers money line full game. And the reason that we got on that is, do you realize that in the last 3 game 7s in the conference finals, or it's just 3 games, but just in the last 3 straight, the team leading at halftime has lost the game outright. Isn't that nuts? I can't get over that because like if you're up at halftime, you win that game like 80% of the time in the NBA. But in
Yeah,
here, it's like a wild
I
differential.
came into the series, Matt, wanting to bet specifically on our series preview. I said, I'm looking to bet Thunder home first half. The Pacers road first half was not great all season long. Thunder home first half has been crushing. This is the spot, right? Thunder home first half. You can bet Thunder halftime, full time, minus 160. That was initially going to be a best bet. That I agree with you, the first half thing. Like, I don't necessarily know. I still think the most likely outcome for this game is at some point, the thing that we see in a lot of game sevens, the avalanche comes. Sometime Oklahoma City gets the turnovers. The thing we just saw last night, that game, but in game 7 for the home team, the turnovers come, the threes fall. It's like a 14-0 run in a 2-minute span. And then maybe they get a couple of those. And I think that's the most likely outcome. I think a lot of people expect that's the most likely outcome. It's just that the Pacers might have a few of their runs as well. But yeah, that's the thing that usually happens in game 7. That's the script. We just don't know if scripts matter at all in this postseason.
Yeah, because if you want to talk about scripts, I go back to Cavs game 1, where it was like the Cavs got a lead and we're like, okay, we could do this. And then all of a sudden it's like, nope, there goes the Pacers. And like Thunder game 1, led by 11 most of the game. Oh, yeah. I'm like, we were texting about it. Like, the run's coming. Like, the Thunder will hit an avalanche here and this will be it. And we're all going to cash. And then it was 7. And then it was 5. And then it was 1. And then Tyrese Halliburton happened. All right. So, again, I think it's fine if you – I think the common sense, most logical outcome here is Brandon's approach. Mine is – I'm not really basing it off of game 6 in terms of, like, I don't want to get caught up in the bounce back and forth. But it is a matter of I do not like the spot contextually for OKC enough to bet the Pacers. And if you've listened to the show, then you know, like, I've got prior positions, so this isn't going to be like a massive bet for me. I am okay on either side of this. I have at least finally gotten a position where I'm going to be okay on either one. Only took me 4 rounds.
A quick word on that, just because I'm sure a lot of people are in a similar spot where it's like, okay, I have my big Thunder ticket or I have my big Pacers long shot ticket. What do I do? How do I hedge? I constantly am getting a lot of questions about that. So just broadly, a quick answer. An answer from my end of things. You just heard everything I said for the last 30 minutes. I'm on the Thunder in the series. I have a ticket in the app for half unit that's going to win plus 1,600 if the Pacers win this game. I think the Thunder win. Should I be hedging that ticket? No, absolutely not. I have a ticket on the Pacers to win this game at 16-1. You can't get that ticket anywhere. Why would you hedge out of what is a good ticket? Do I think the Pacers have a 16-1 chance to win the game? Absolutely. I think the Pacers have like a 3-1 chance to win the game. Why would I want to get rid of a ticket at 16-1? Instead, I can use the fact that I have that to allow me to bet the thing I think is going to happen here, some Thunder outcomes. And it's like, okay, obviously, if my Thunder outcomes win, I've lost that ticket that I put in. Great, I lost a half unit. I lose a half unit like every time I breathe in the app. Like, we're going to win some other units back. It'll be fine. You can't chase all the time after hedging. To me, and I think this is indicative of the series too, and why I think you're fair to be betting the Pacers. I think if you have Pacers stock, it's likely long shot stock. You don't really have a way to hedge anyway. The Thunder are too short. Don't go chasing. Your bet was supposed to lose. Congratulations, you're on the doorstep. Don't throw away all your profits now, chasing a tiny little margin. Similarly, in the app, I bet after game 3, here on the Buckets episode, Shea versus Miles Turner plus 280 series rebounds. I no longer want Shea versus Turner rebounds. It's head-to-head. They're even right now. I would prefer Turner right now, but we have a 3-1. I would not prefer Turner 3-1. I'll take Shea 3-1. I'm going to have to live with it. I'm going to live with losing a bet because that is a good margin in our favor. So if you have the Pacers, I don't think you should be too aggressive hedging. If you have the Thunder, based on all we've said from both of us, not a terrible idea if you have a little bit of Pacers protection some way, somehow. And I think that the Thunder backer here, I'm admitting that, should tell you how up in the air this still is. But I think that's just a helpful big picture idea. You can't really hedge that well if you got to lay minus 300, minus 500, whatever. You made a bet that was supposed to lose. So now you have to live with the upside of what it could win or just let it lose. That's okay sometimes.
So I'll come out even. if OKC wins, because I've grabbed enough Thunder over Pacers in the conference finals. I grabbed Thunder at the beginning of the playoffs because the number was I didn't think the number was commensurate. But based off of like my potential profit, I should be betting OKC here, but not at minus 286. Like it's just not. Right. There's no way to do this. And if it's like, well, you just talked about the Matt Mitchell rule, yeah, but that risk factor is way too high here. If this one, like, if you wind up and you wind up hedging on the spread, and then the Thunder win this fucking game by 4, because Aaron Nesmith hits a 3 at the buzzer, like,
to what Matt's saying, the only way I would hedge, me, the king of let me give up some outs to get the better number, no, absolutely not. If you are hedging, the goal of hedging, if you decide to do it, should be to lock in a 100.000% chance that I'm winning on either side. If you bet what Matt just said, if you have Pacers stock and you bet Thunder to cover, you are at risk to losing both sides, and you're probably betting a whole bunch to cover your whole bunch you could win, and now you lost double the whole bunch and didn't get anything. If you choose to hedge, make sure you hedge in a way that covers you entirely 100%. That's the only way to do it.
All right, you have choose your own adventure, Propalooza. I want to make a very broad comment here that Brandon Anderson texted me last night and talked about how boring he finds this series. And then he comes into this show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bets. That's Brandon Anderson.
A man of the people, Matt Moore. I want to give the people what they want. It's the last game of the season.
I'm dead serious. No matter where Brandon is at, he gets up for this. He's like, it's game 7. We got to go. We got to do this. He is a total pro, and I appreciate that about him, because he and I are both about burned out all the way out. And so we are 45 minutes into this podcast. Hit me with some props for the people, Brandon.
All right, so I put these into sections. So the first one is, I'm going to call this the Raheem Palmer one. Raheem loved to bet against human achievement. So I'm going to bet against human achievement in game 7. Matt, we only have had 4 finals game 7s this century, so there's not a lot to pick from here. Based on like game score and BPM, I know, but it's all Basketball Reference had to offer me. What do you think is the best individual game 7 we've had this century? For just off the top of your head, we've had the Pistons, Spurs. We've had 2 LeBrons, LeBron against the Spurs, LeBron against the Warriors, and we had Lakers, Celtics. What do you think is the best individual game 7 performance we've seen this century by the numbers?
Thinking. What did Kyrie have in game 7?
It's not Kyrie. Kyrie had like the 41, I believe, in game 6. They had the dual 41s.
Yeah. I did not
know. It is in that game 7. It's not LeBron. LeBron's the obvious answer. LeBron's got a couple of them. That game 7, it's lost in history now. Draymond, 32 points, 50
Draymond, oh my God, the threes in the first half.
Yeah, all the threes, a 24.0 BPM. He played all but 1 minute, just a bonkers game. The most points ever scored in a game 7 is Jerry West, 42 in 1969. In a loss, that's the one time we gave Finals MVP to the losing player. The most points in a win in game 7 ever is 37. Why all the setup? You can bet any player to score 40 points, yes or no. No. Bet against human accomplishment. No, we're not getting a 40 in game 7. It's minus 200. That's an absurd number. It is not 2-1 that we're going to get a 40-point game in game 7. I know J-Dub just did a couple of games ago. I know Shea scores a lot of points. If they do it, tip your hat, pay him down. We saw the greatest scoring performance in finals history. I will bet on history here. If you don't have that available at your book, some books offer highest single game scoring outcome. You can bet J-Dub because he has a 40. He's like a minus 300 there. You can bet on him, and that basically is nobody else has a more than 40. So that's the Raheem Palmer Memorial bet against human accomplishment. No 40-point game, minus 200. Any thoughts?
Please don't say memorial. My guy's still alive.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think especially There's no Pacers player I think that's going to score 40. I'm not expecting Siakam for 40. If you were
Right.
like, he scored 35, I'd be like, finals MVP. But there's no Pacer that's going to score 40. And so, okay, let's remove them. So J-Dub's not going to have the usage. Again, I don't think. So it's just Shea. It's just like, do you think Shea scores 40 or not? That's your only risk here. And given the flow and given what the Pacers have done, I think it's unlikely. So yeah. I get behind this.
Well, and two, I'm going to fire through a bunch of these props. Absolutely, all of these props are not winning together. I guarantee you right now, do not put these all in a parlay. They're not all winning. Some of them are contradictory. If Shea does score 41 and loses this bet for us, guess what? I'm going to really like our OKC alts after that. I'm going to really like those bets, and we can get that money back right away. Okay, let's play some defense, because I think this is a defensive series, and this is a defensive game 7. We've talked all about it. Here are just a couple of simple defensive props. Miles Turner, under 1.5 blocks. It's even odds. In wins this series, 3, 5, and 2 blocks for Miles Turner. In losses, 0, 0, 0. No blocks in any losses for Indiana. So if you like the Thunder to win the game and the Pacers to lose, Turner under 1.5 blocks. Shea is only one back on the lead for blocks on Turner. Shea's had at least one block in every win for the Thunder. That's plus 225 if you want that. Not big on betting blocks leader. I will bet steals leader. Our man TJ McConnell is plus 250. He is tied for the lead right now with Alex Caruso. Our backup white point guards are loving it in the NBA Finals, Matt. They have 14 steals each. TJ's had at least one steal all but one game. He's had multiple steals in all but 2 of the games. Caruso, obviously, we know he can just get like 5 steals, like nothing, but he's had 0 twice. So it's plus 250 for TJ. He is, again, tied for the lead. We could just get no steals this game, and he still splits that outcome. I don't love a split, but I'm still going to win some money on it. So that's why I like this here, is the chance for him to split or win, plus 250. And last defensive prop, I mentioned how Shea has at least one block in every win. He also has at least 2 steals in every win, 4, 3, and 2 steals. So make a little, just a tiny little Shea defense parlay. 2 assists, 1 block, Thunder win, plus 256. He's had that in all 3 Thunder wins in the finals. 2 steals. Sorry, I think I may have said assists. 2 steals, 1 block, both from Shea in a Thunder win, plus 256. So don't go crazy. Steals and blocks, it's hard. Like, you're going to get real annoyed at how the books are like, or the scorekeeper, like, no, that was not a block. That was a steal. I need a steal. Don't go crazy with these, but there's your defensive game 7 props. Any thoughts on defense before I keep going?
I wonder what the stats are for like how many blocks and steals are in a game 7 compared to other games. It's like an interesting question for us to maybe look at before our pregame show on Sunday. But look, I think Shea does a lot more defensively in terms of he's a playmaker, and so I think that this does work out. The Turner one is maybe the one I don't like. I just think that Miles Turner has been really good in the series and is actually getting better, and he's been really, really strong defensively. So that's the one I don't like, but the TJ one I like quite a bit for him to be the steals leader, because that's absolutely like something that is, again, it's like, okay, so he's not going to turn the ball over on the inbounds again. Surely not. Don't call me Shirley is what I was going to think there. Keep going.
Yeah, and again, obviously, I'm going to like the TJ steals one less if the Thunder don't win the game. But again, I'm admitting that. I'm giving myself multiple outs here. If the Pacers win, why'd they win? Oh, maybe because TJ had 2-3 steals again. Great. I give myself a way to cover that. Speaking of which, a couple role players. This has been a series for role players. Simple TJ McConnell prop. Over 13.5 points plus assists, minus 114. In the series, he has hit that one 4 out of the 6 games. He got hooked on one other one. He had 10 in the other. So he's a shot away, basically, and otherwise hooked. His minutes have gone up the last 2 games to 22 and 24. I think you could make a bad case, but you can make a case. TJ McConnell is the real finals MVP for the Pacers. He's been incredible. He has changed the series for them. He's been so good. He's going to get minutes. You get the upside if Halliburton ends up having to play a little bit less. You get more more TJ that way. Over 13.5 points and assists. And then my OKC role player bet, Kenrich Williams, 3 rebounds, plus 130. We didn't know why he was not playing. The first 3 games of the series, he had 10 minutes total. Last 3 games, 11, 11, and then 18 minutes. He had 4 points, 3 rebounds, one of those, 3.3 rebounds yesterday. He's hit 3 rebounds, and this is interesting and key to me. He's done it in the postseason in really big wins. The Thunder have had wins by 26, 30, 43, 51. He's had 3 rebounds or more in all of those. Why? Because he was part of getting them there. And more importantly, this is my blowout bet. He's the guy that's going to be on the court. If we get a blowout and we don't have the starters on there to end the game, we just get extra Kenrich minutes. So he has hit this already 3 of 5 games in the playoffs when he played at least 11 minutes. He did that 69% in the season. He's averaged a rebound under every 4 minutes or so in the playoffs. We need 12 minutes, 11 really from Kenrich. So 3 rebounds plus 130. That's actually, as goofy as it sounds, maybe one of my favorite bets in our Propalooza here. Thoughts on role players?
He seems to like Kenrich as a power forward in this spot a little bit, to kind of give them a little bit of a double big look, which is funny because Kenrich is not a big, but he plays it for them. The blowout angle works. I kind of targeted Isaiah Joe for the same reason. That Isaiah Joe is a guy that plays a lot in the blowouts, but Kenrich actually I think is higher in the rotation and has a little bit more trust from Daigneault. So yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, and you'll notice too, if you kind of catch the theme here, I'm betting on ugly. I'm betting on not a lot of point props for me here, not a lot of assist props necessarily, and I'm not playing the stars too much. I'm betting on, you know what? What if we miss a lot of shots and turn the ball over a lot? What if that happened in a game 7? How can I profit from that? I do have a few stars here to finish us out, though. Tyrese Halliburton is the big story for sure. Shai has to become the story. He is the wrong side of the story from last night. When the Thunder win, so far in the series, Shai's assists have been there. When they lose, they have not been. So I like still one more time. Shai, game 7 assist leader, plus 265. I have lost so much money on Shai assists in the series because I keep giving up on it, and then they win the next game, and then Shai gets the assists again. So here are the numbers. In 3 losses in the finals, 3.7 assists per game on under 9 potentials. In 3 wins, 6 assists per game. Not good enough for me, but a lot better than 3.7. 12, almost 13 potentials. So the potentials are up 50%. The assists are up 50%, better than 50%. Halliburton's been pretty steady, actually. We were right to fade him, but there were no other options to beat him. So we faded the under 9.5 assists for Halliburton. Unless he has like 30, we're cashing that one. But he's getting like 6 or 7 a game. So we need just a little bit above that. I think Shai can get there. He's won this category in 2 of the 3 Thunder wins, plus 265. If you think Shai's the assist leader and the likely scoring leader, I like Shai scoring and assists, Siakam rebounding at 22-1. If you want to just sprinkle like a 10th of a unit on the game leaders. And then here's the crazy bet with the Shai assist leader. Well, that's the crazy bet since I've lost 17 times on it so far in the finals. I'm also playing simultaneous race to 8 assists. Nobody plus 270. We are not getting many assists in this series. We had 111 from Halliburton. We had 110 from Shai. We've had games so far in the series where the assist leader had 6, 6, and 7. So this is not a series that is giving us many assists. I'm playing both. There's a very much a world where Shai wins assist leader and we don't get anyone with 8. Shai has 7, Halliburton has 5 or 6. We can cash both of these, but I think that this kind of gives some protection. I like our chances to cash 1. I think we can cash both. We have had in 2 of 5 game 7 since the 80s, we haven't had an 8 assist game either. So fading the assists. Let me let you chime in here on fading Halliburton assist, and then I'll finish out with my Halliburton fade after that.
So I like the no 8 assists plus 270. I don't love the Shai one.
I gotta win all my Shai money back, Matt. That's the way to bet.
Yep. I just think that the Pacers have kind of figured out what this. Okay. This is a tough one. And the reason is because it's like, if the Thunder make shots, then Shai will hit this number. Because I don't think Tyrese is going to get there, and there's nobody else that can create him on the Pacers. Maybe J-Dub could do it for the Thunder, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, I looked at it J-Dub assist under because the assists have disappeared in the series,
Yeah.
but when the Thunder have big blowout wins, J-Dub's assists spike. So that scared me away from that. So, but if they don't have big blowout win, then J-Dub's probably not going to get there either.
And it's like, look, the Pacers have a model for how to guard them, but the question is like, can they? And it's just like, this is an execution question. And that's why I don't really want to bet it either way. Like, I'm not clamoring to take an under on Shea's assists. I'm just like, I think it's an execution question, and I don't know how to accurately bet if the Pacers will execute. If you don't have a plan for it, if you don't have a way to guard it, then I want to bet the over. If you absolutely have a way to guard it, then I know you can execute easily. But like with this, it's just like, yeah, it's really hard. Shea's really awesome, but you can do it. So that to me is why I don't want to go in on the Shea, but the no assist I do like in for a game like this.
Okay, give me your case for the Halliburton assist under, because we've been on it all series, but we're down to I think 6.5 now on the line. You still like it under 6.5?
Yeah, I just don't think he had burst, right? He had enough burst in that last game for him to get there. If he played the full allotment, he goes over. For me, this is the Thunder will pick up their energy defensively. They will switch and they will try and press him to the edge. They will do all these things. And the odds of him being able to get to 7 dimes is unlikely, especially given the pace that I'm expecting this to be, which is slower. So like maybe this is just like a simple underplay, but the number's also been squeezed out. To me, this is quite simply, I think there's a lot of opportunities for secondary assists. Oh, that's one more thing you should know about the SGA thing. They are blitzing him now, like almost ever. Like they are sending help.
To be clear, I have nothing technicality on the court wise makes me think Shea's going to lead an assist. I'm just playing the script, really.
Yep. So I'm playing the Halliburton under on assist because it's been a consistent winner. It has been squeezed out, but it has been squeezed out enough. If this is 5.5, I don't want it, but I'll play it as an under at 6.5.
Yeah, I looked at a lot of Halliburton unders here. I definitely don't mind the assist under. It's just that the line has moved so far that I don't know that there's a ton of value for me. I don't necessarily want points unders because even if the calf is bothering him, I think he can still hit the threes. We saw him get hot on the threes. So I don't want to fade threes and points in case they're there. My Halliburton fade is rebounds. I'm going to play an alt under 3 rebounds or less plus 316. He's done that 3 of 6 games this series. And I know in the other games, he had 7, 9, and 10 rebounds. But in the other 3 where he hit this, he had 3, 2, and importantly, in the game we just watched last night, 1 rebound on 5 chances. Why? Because your calf's not there, so you're not going to push to get every rebound. Let your other guys get the rebounds. His rebounds were down from 8.5 chances to 5 last night, and from 6.2 rebounds, he's had this absurd outlier rebound percentage rate down to 1 out of 5. Now, 1 out of 5 is a tiny sample, and they didn't play the whole game. I get that. But 3 rebounds or less plus 316. I think that might be my favorite out of the whole Propalooza here, just because we don't want this to happen, but we don't know if we're going to get the whole game from Halliburton or what effort or energy level, what energy level we'll get from him there. And last one goes right up against it. I just think it's a bad number. If the Pacers do win, Tyrese Halliburton is 16-1 to be finals MVP, and he is not going to lead the team in scoring, and he's not going to lead the team in rebounding. That's Pascal Siakam, who, by the way I give out these awards, I would want Siakam to be finals MVP. He has been awesome. He's been so good this series. I think you can make a case, Matt, that Siakam has had the best individual series of any player that played the Thunder so far in the playoffs. That includes Nikola Jokic. That includes Anthony Edwards. I think Siakam has had the best individual series. I think he would deserve it. However, there are 9 voters, and we vote on narrative, and we vote in the moment. And if Tyrese Halliburton starts the series with a stealing the game winner, and then ends the series heroically playing through injury, had a great game last night, has another good game, helping them get over the line, has the whole thing about I'm not underrated, all the players voted me underrated. The narrative, storyline, star player of Tyrese Halliburton, to me, is enough to bet this at 16-1. That, for me, is a way that I would consider a slight hedge. Not a true hedge, because the Pacers could still win without that. But I said before, near the top, the Pacers have 8 dudes averaging double digits. in the finals. That's crazy. And if ever we're going to break precedent and not just give MVP to who's the leading scorer, that's what we do time after time after time. If ever we're going to break that, and we've been breaking it lately sometimes anyway, Tyrese Halliburton with his narrative, with the injury, with the winning shot, all the stuff, I think is the way it would happen. So 16-1, that will be my last bet in Prop-A-Loser. We're not going to hit everything, but we'll hit enough to get some money here, hopefully.
Yeah. Which is why Jim Turvey and I bet it at 33-1 at halftime last night. I never get to do that to you, so it's like the one time I get to do that to you that I number top you.
You've got J-Dub 85-1 too. You've got some tasty positions here the way things are lining up.
It's gonna be Shea. It's absolutely gonna be Shea.
I got Shea plus 150 last round, so I'm sitting on that one. Yay, plus 150, hooray! I can win like 1.5 units or something on it. It'll be so lame, but you guys are gonna have sweet tickets though.
Sweet CLV sandwiches all day. That's Brandon Anderson. You can catch him in the Action Network app at Wheaton Brando, WHEATON BRANDO. Make sure to catch us on Sunday, 6:30 Eastern. Me, Gilles Gallant, Kyle Murray, Chris Raybon. Chris has already told me he's going to be there, which is very nice of Chris. Post game, you can catch the whole crew: Jim Turvey, Joe Delera. Brandon's going to join us. I'm sure Gilles will pop on. We'll have lots of folks hanging out with us on Sunday night. My thanks to David Payne for producing this episode. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Game 7. We'll see you on Sunday for Best Bets. Till next time, get buckets.